Time for some Florida State football talk, of course, right here at the Voice of College Football on a Wednesday night at 6 Eastern Time. You know the drill. You produce the show. Ultimately, you produce it. So leave those comments and questions there in the live chat. Bring a friend. Bring two. Bring 10. Let's get a record crowd in here tonight. Share the link out on social media as well for a 162nd time. So, as Jason would well know, for you baseball fans, the number 162, very prominent, but for us, it just means another stellar show, of course. Jason Parker, NBC6, Logan Robinson, Noel Game Day. Boys, how we doing?
Guys, have we ever had this much to talk about in a summer episode? We've got recruiting.
I love it.
We've got recruiting. We've got coaching hot seats. I get to educate Logan on what a hot take really is. Logan rocking the Jordan Travis 4th and 14 gear today. Solid choice. Solid wardrobe choice. I'm rocking the Broward County Seminole Club. Shout out to the Broward County Seminole Club down here. Mark actually moved the helmet into the right place. There we go.
I've moved the helmet 3 times to try to position it where we could see the FSU helmet. But then, of course, the camera angle changes once we get to the 3-shot. I had to change it again. So, Florida State fans, I hope you're taking note.
Oh.
You guys have noticed people get so paranoid and uptight about the helmet placement that the other night somebody actually gave me $50 to move a helmet.
Wait, what?
I don't think I want to tell you guys which helmet, because you guys, I'll give you one guess.
Miami.
Yes.
Obviously. Well, they throw their money around down Miami. That's what I'm thinking. That's why they're being investigated by the NCAA. They throw money around, so I get it.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah. Nothing else going on.
Guys, we've got recruits coming in.
There is.
Yeah, let's start with these recruits, and one of them we're going to see on the field this year. So let's get to the priority of 2022 defensive tackle Yabami Tafasi. Did I do okay on that, Logan?
Close enough.
Close?
I think you did good.
Out of Maryland, 6'5", 300 pounds, 3-star. Have you gotten a chance to see him a little bit?
Our guy Dustin was there to meet him during this last weekend whenever he was taking his visit. First off, we need to mention that supposedly he has the strongest handshake that I think any recruit last couple of years we've seen. That's what Dustin and a few of the other B reporters said. So that's already telling you something that he's coming in with some determination. But no, this is a guy that is really, really late. And I think it's worth mentioning. I think a lot of people were like, oh, cool, I guess 2023. All right, cool, whatever. But no, this is a 2022 guy coming in with some serious size. 6'4", 310. I believe didn't get to play a season up there in Maryland due to COVID. So, the rankings are the rankings, but, getting him in early to be under Coach Storms, definitely Coach Odell. I mean, we got to give our props here to Coach Odell Higgins. I think he grabs a lot of heat from FSU fans, and that's understandable. It's kind of up and down for Odell, but this is definitely his guy that he grabs, which you can add to that class now with Daniel Lyons, Bishop Thomas, who I thought had pretty impressive, I'd say, a true freshman springs out of them, but you'd like to have one more guy. I believe, though, due to academic redshirt, I'm not entirely sure if he's going to be able to participate this upcoming season or not. But for him to be into the fold, already get into the system with Coach Odell, and then also be with Coach Storms and continuing to develop his body, this is a guy that likes to work. This is a dude. Go over to his Instagram. You can see he likes to train. He's trained by really good trainers. He's also working out a ton. And overall, the size is something I think Florida State fans should really like adding into this defensive line room, which is a big-time need. Florida State made a focus this offseason to build in the trenches. And, it can't just be on one side with the offense. It's got to be defensively, too. So now I do like this room a lot more in that true freshman class. Adding Tafase in here along with Lyons, and you now have Thomas there too. So this was a need. It's something that they need to do, and we'll see how he develops. But I think we got to give your props here to Coach Odell Higgins, because there was definitely a lot of chatter with some other schools, and he ends up picking Florida State primarily, I think, over Arkansas here.
Yeah.
And Odell does his thing.
And you mentioned a little bit, obviously, going back, Florida State has had traditional traditionally gotten guys from the state of Maryland. Obviously, he's from Townsend, Maryland. Yeah, it looks like, just looking up his information, visited Virginia Tech, Arkansas, and Florida State within a 5-day period. So Florida State winning out over another AC school, Virginia Tech, and taking one from Arkansas. But my question to you, Logan, is you mentioned how a lot of people thought he was going to come in the class of 2023. What went into the process to get him a part of the class of 2022? How did that go about?
For a majority of this was all in-house, and what he wanted to reclassify and get to Florida State earlier. This all has to do with academics and what is going on in that situation. As we know, as being Florida State, at least covering Florida State and also Florida State fans, they know that there's a lot of stuff that goes into academics and getting guys in and making sure that they're eligible and such. But this was all into the program and his decision on wanting to get here earlier. This is 6'4", 311 pounds. This is a guy that you like to have in here earlier rather than later. And looking into that 2024 room of sophomores next season, not this upcoming one, but next season, you've got Daniel Lyons, Bishop Thomas, and now you got Tafase, which you like a lot more than just having those two in there initially.
And I think, Logan, I'm going to agree with him 100%. This is a rebirth of Odell Higgins. We talked about him a little bit. Odell has been the man. I mean, obviously, as the interim coach several times now, but also has just been the man on that assistant coaching staff for decades. And I feel like there was the question of how much longer did Odell have left? How much longer, was he going to be able to go out and get these guys? I mean, this is a big man, like you said, a big worker, a big hoss, and somebody who shows that Odell's not going anywhere. I think Odell is stuck with that unit, and then another guy that we're going to talk about in the 2023 class. Yeah, I don't think Odell's going anywhere for a while. I think we're going to see Odell for at least a couple more years in Tallahassee.
Yeah, and then this was just one last thing on him. This was, last minute type of deal here for Odell. And, he was offered, I believe in April, and they started communicating. This was all on Odell. This was his recruitment here that he went in. He said, Tafase told us that he was, talking to Odell, twice a day, staying in tight communication. He never let go of the communication. We talked probably twice a day, every day. It's been a major turnaround. The more they kept recruiting me, made me more interested to come here and visit to see what they have to offer and what I have to offer them. It looked like we connected on that, and I love them. So, he definitely committed here for Odell Higgins, and I don't blame him whatsoever for what Odell's been able to do to put guys into the league as one of the most consistent coaches in Florida State history as being an assistant to put guys in the league. That's Odell Higgins.
If nothing else, these recent commits are going to test the spelling and pronunciation and enunciation skills of the Florida State faithful. For 2023, we got wide receiver Quindarius Jones, who commits to Florida State as well. No rankings or ratings on him at 247 right now. But Logan, what have you picked up on Quindarius?
Guy was size. We got to see him at the elite camp that Florida State held. And, he was holding on to a lot of the wide receivers there, including a few current Florida State commits at the wide receiver position. I think the biggest thing here at Florida State's looking at the size, athleticism, the length. You can put him down at corner. You can put him down at safety. This is kind of a versatile kind of athlete that fits the mold of what Florida State likes to do in their defensive backfield. If they're going to go after a guy early, why not fit a guy that can fit both of those positions? And I thought he impressed us whenever we were able to see him in person. I think the biggest thing is just athleticism and length. There's a lot of physical attributes that I think the staff likes. Want to see more game from him. I'm not going to say this was definitely a big time grab or a secret steal of anything, but I do think there's definitely some high upside with a very high ceiling that Florida State is pursuing early on that can make them look really smart later on. So this is one that, Mike Norvell does this. He's done it with tight ends too in the past. He'll take some risks on some guys that maybe aren't rated or guys that haven't gotten a lot of publicity in the recruiting at the point in time that they're at, and they'll go out and risk it. And you got to trust Marcus Woodson and Adam Fuller and what they want to do on the defensive side of the ball, definitely in that backfield. But the skill set, the skill and maybe just more the physical attributes, I think, is what the staff is liking out of him, and they think that he can develop into something special. So, they feel really highly about him. They feel really highly.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a taller guy, 6'2". You're talking about somebody where now. My question for you, Logan, is you mentioned he's coming in as an athlete, and you mentioned the secondary position at 6'2". To me, athlete also insinuates offensive side of the ball. Do you see him just solely focusing on defense, or do you think with him being a little bit of a taller target that you could see him getting some run at wide receiver?
I think right now they're going to want to stick him still at the safety corner, mainly DB spot. We'll see. That's the one thing that Florida State is doing now, and this is true on what Norvell is and his recruiting class. He does this. A lot of guys that can play both ways or play multiple positions. It's all over Florida State's roster right now, and I don't think it used to really be that way. They used to be one-way guys, but now you got guys that can run in double situation, either offensively, defensively, but primarily definitely on one side of the ball. They can play multiple position groups, but specifically, I think they're going to want to stay here and keep him at the safety position. But you got to like what he's got size-wise early on and his recruitment. But he had impressed us at that elite prospect camp when we were there a couple weekends ago, and was really, really on par with covering some of the guys like really Florida State's wide receiver who's really stood out to us was Quindarius Jones, a current FSU wide receiver. Covered him well, and that probably caught some eyes from the Florida State staff and landed him grabbing the offer, and then eventually deciding to go with Florida State.
So they threw me a curveball there at on three. On three, blamed them for the designation of wide receiver. So people correcting me in the live chat, I posted the banner based on the 2022 or 23 commitment list for on three as Quindarius Jones, wide receiver. There you go.
Lo siento to the fans.
Let's get it right over there on three. Let's get it together.
There's no game day, let me tell you that much.
No, God.
Absolutely not.
Oh my goodness, they might have a lot of more money back in them though. They seem to have some pretty good success, but yeah, no, this guy is DB. Yeah, give us a couple more years.
But we've talked about two recruits, but there's a third one, isn't there, Mark?
There absolutely is, and now we will go to the defensive side of the ball as well with Jaden Jones off the edge there from Montgomery, Alabama, Park Crossing High School. Logan.
Yeah, this is another big size guy. This is what Florida State is wanting to do. It's how it feels like it should be. When you think of Florida State and adding to that defensive line, you think of big guys that are aggressive, like to get in there, and they come in with size coming out of high school. And this is what Florida State has done here with grabbing JUCO defensive end Jaden Jones. Number one thing from him is really the size. He said that he committed to Florida State. He had a close connection with Coach JP. Coach Norvell, obviously, and they see a lot in Jones. And, he told us that, the staff specifically talked to them and said, they brought up Jermaine Johnson. And, that's definitely raises some eyebrows and kind of shocks you a little bit. But they do see a really high upside with Jones coming in. They spent a lot of time together with him and the staff, and he just felt like it was right to go ahead and commit to Florida State. And, luckily, hopefully, Florida State can continue to use that recruiting advantage of having Keir Thomas and Jermaine Johnson, what they were able to do to be the best duo, definitely in their conference and one of the best in the country last year. They can use that as a recruiting tool. Jermaine Johnson, first round to the Jets. They can use this to really pry in some guys and say, hey, you can come in, you can even be a one-year guy, and we can develop you into being one of the top, if not the top in the ACC, and send you into the first round of the NFL draft and be a star player for the Jets in New York. So that's something that I think now Florida State is definitely taking full advantage of here. And I think it was really about the connections here. But this is another decently sized guy coming in that I think Florida State is excited to have on its roster.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy 6'6", 240, and we've talked about it with some of the other recruits who've come in over the past couple seasons, guys like Pat Payton from down here. Kind of can play that, I'm not comparing him to Jason Taylor, but kind of that Jason Taylor type position that he played with the Dolphins, kind of that linebacker, defensive end hybrid thing right there. And you look at what's coming in right now with the 2023 class, you've got Jaden Jones, the defensive lineman, and then on the other side, you've got Lamont Green Jr., who's coming in as kind of that edge guy, who's also a 6'5", 228. He's going to bulk up during his senior year at Miami's Gulliver Prep. So you've got those guys who you put one on one side, one on the other side. Those are two giant pass rushers who get a little meat on them, can come on the edge. So I think on the defensive side, I'm going to give – Logan's going to want to write this down. Logan, grab your pen. I want you to write this down, okay, because it may not happen again. Okay.
I'm listening.
You ready? Okay. Mike Norvell and the assistant coaches have done a heck of a job recruiting so far. That's
okay.
It's the best compliment you're going to get right now. That's the best you're going to get.
So we've gone off the whole Travis, where we've moved on from the Travis Hunter and the Kevin Coleman and the Tyree West. Now that we've moved on from it.
Travis Hunter. First of all, I was never against him for the Travis Hunter thing. I will once again always say, and we've talked about this on past shows, get your money while you can, because this is football. This is a contact sport. You're one hit away from permanent injury, permanent paralysis. Get your money while you can. Kevin Coleman was going to go to Miami, it looked like, and then he went to Jackson State. Do your thing. Travis Hunter was not the fault of Mike Norvell. He made a decision, and he'll probably end up leaving Jackson State in a couple of years, going to Georgia, get another bag from Georgia, and he'll be good to go. So move on from that, focus on the future. And, I mean, you look at the 2023 class, it's ranked 34th right now by 24/7 Sports, but I like what I'm seeing right now. I like Lamont Green. Obviously, he's the prodigy son of his dad, who was arguably one of the top linebacker recruits, one of the top defensive recruits in Florida State history when he played high school football down here in South Florida. Vontavious Jacobs from Vero Beach, also a wide receiver target. You've got Chris Parson, the big quarterback target from up in Ravenwood, Tennessee. You've got the Joneses coming in, one from Mississippi, one from Alabama. So, I mean, I think right now they're setting pace for what you want to see. Would I like them to recruit more in the state of Florida? Would I like them to come back and recruit more South Florida? Sure. But you got to get these guys while you can. And now you're going up against a Miami that's focusing all their attention here on South Florida and getting the top South Florida recruits. You've got a Florida that's wanting to recruit here back in the state of Florida. So, we've talked about it. If they win this season, I think you're going to start to get more recruits. But I like the base of where the 2023 recruiting class is right now.
I like really, being able to see Lamont Green Jr. That was my first time being able to see him compete. We'd seen him a few times for recruiting, but Jason, that get off is nasty. I don't think we have time to share the video here I took of him, but that get off is disgusting. He's going to put on more size. His dad, and this is a recruit that, if I would put everything imaginable on that he's definitely going to be sticking with Florida State. His dad has made that very clear on our show, along with just on social media. That he's a Knoll, and his son knows that too, so we don't have to worry about that. But this is a guy that has some crazy upside. I want to be surprised that's a high-rated 4-star, if not a 5-star guy, because Lamont Green Sr. is going to put some size on him. He's already put on quite a bit, not quite a bit, a lot since the last about year or so, and he's just going to continue to put on size there. But that get off, to have that get off, you can't really teach that too much. You can train that, and it'll take a little while to get there. But just to have that natural get off, and offensive tackle can't even touch you. Yeah. Odell Higgins looked at after the rep and said, he looked over at senior and said, "Yeah, that boy's gonna be good."
And let's not forget, Lamont Green Jr. committed to Florida State as a sophomore. So Lamont Green Jr. has been Florida State committed. He hasn't been like several other guys like a Marvin Jones Jr. who looked at Florida State but ended up going to Georgia. Lamont Green Jr. has been a Florida State commit, and he's right now 4-star. Just looking right now, 46th best player in the state of Florida, according to 24/7. I mean, that's only going to go up. My question at this point is, he's sticking with Gulliver Prep, which is a good school program that produced guys like Sean Taylor, a couple other big names that went to the NFL, but I'm kind of surprised that he's staying there. I would have thought maybe, we don't recruit down here in South Florida in the high schools. We've never recruited. But I'm wondering why a school like a St. Thomas didn't get him. Why a school like, Miami Central that brought in a couple guys that went to Florida State. Why aren't these guys coming in to get him? But, he'll stick with Gulliver, and I think he's going to stay.
I think they know. Daddy ain't going to have anybody. He ain't going anywhere else. So I think that they can try all they want. They can send all the offers. They can send the letters, the gifts, everything imaginable. They can send They can send the cars, the challengers, whatever. But sorry, Saban, this one's talking to senior in person. They ain't going nowhere.
The fact that he's not at St. Thomas Aquinas for a senior of high school is my surprising part right here. He's staying at Gulliver, but we don't recruit because we're moralistic down here in South Florida. We're not like up in Tallahassee, you Charles High heathens who recruited. That's how you got there, right? You were a Godby kid, right?
Yeah, Godby, and then they brought me over to Charles to play.
Obviously.
Yeah, it was tough.
That journalism bag got you.
Yeah, had to.
Got a late arriving crowd here at the Voice of College Football. I don't think there's any doubt that the word has basically leaked out. I think that this is the first edition of Jason's Hot Takes, and so everyone's coming in late, just trying to get here for Jason's Hot Takes.
It's been a while since we've done the Hot Takes, but we will do the Hot Takes before at the end of today's show. We're going to do the Hot Takes. Unlike Logan's hot take that he tried to put out in April, he tried. Let's give Logan an A for effort.
I already forgot what I said.
Yeah, it wasn't good. That's why it was forgettable. But you tried. You gave your best effort. You gave a rookie effort. But we're going to give you a hot take, and I guarantee you, I'm going to Charles Barkley guarantee that today's hot take will piss off at least 2 fan bases. At least 2. We're going to start off big.
Perfect.
We're going to start off big.
We'll get there in just a second. Now, if I had an intern or some type of staff, I would have them dig up last season's hot takes to see how Jason fared. I can think of 2, and I don't think we need to repeat those because Jason and I had 2 wagers.
All right. So I can give you a couple of them. Yes, I said Georgia Tech would be the surprise team in the ACC, and Georgia Tech sucked. I believe I said Pitt would go 4-8, and they just happened to win the conference. Just happened to whoopsie. They're going to win the conference there on that one. What were some of my other hot takes? I believe I said Duke would fire David Cutcliffe or get rid of him. So
Nailed it.
I did guarantee that one. I believe. What were some of my other ones? I think I said we'd beat Miami. And we did. I think
you said Tennessee was going to win the SEC East.
That was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. Okay. I blame the pandemic.
So they did not 2 years ago either.
That was
that was 2 years ago. Okay.
If I don't get to blame Mike Norvell for the 2020 season for Florida State, you don't get to blame my 2020 hot takes.
Okay.
It can't be a double standard here. Mark.
Yes, the COVID hot takes do not count.
You're the voice of college football, but on that one, you can't blame me for that one.
Fair enough, even though it's not, but we want to get through this, so I won't put up a fight.
Yeah, you should.
T-shirts are being talked about quite a bit here in the live chat as well. Mr. G14 Classified, of course, we appreciate your interest here. Yes, the Voice of College Football would love to get you a T-shirt. We will work on that. I'm actually working on that right now, but I don't want to promise anything. But we got a little company there in New Jersey. A guy contacted me, and he says he's going to fix this up. So we're in that process, but let's not promise anything. Meanwhile, Falconer X, of course, has taken notice of Logan's 4th and 14 shirt.
Solid 305. Giving up that Miami area code there. I like it. 305.
Yeah.
Solid.
Love it.
Now, Mark, about these shirts, you should do them in the different colors. Garden and gold, green and orange, scarlet and gray, maize and blue.
You're right. We should. Eventually, when we get to that, yes, and you can buy your Voice of College Football FSU shirt, Voice of College Football Michigan shirt. Fill in the blank.
Now, will you get it 2 years later, like Logan did with giving me my no game day stuff? In 2019, I got it.
You have to earn it.
Season. Got it.
Yeah, you got to earn it first.
Yeah. So you promised the first year, and then I got it in 2021. So that's all.
Yeah.
I think I can beat Logan's time by maybe a week or 2.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
We'll be more in the year and 50-week range.
Logan, one of the viewers, while we were talking about the recruits, actually asked an interesting question about whose recruiting class do we think is going to finish better, Florida State's and Miami's. Obviously, Florida State's class right now ranked 34th. Miami's was ranked 43rd, so they're kind of in that same boat. What do you feel? I'm kind of the guy who's down here seeing the Miami train, everyone saying, Miami's back. I feel like Miami could get these recruits down here, but also at the same point, I feel there could be disaster with them this season. So I wonder how that's going to impact recruiting and how Florida State, if Florida State comes down here on November 5th and beats Miami in Hard Rock Stadium, can Florida State possibly flip some of these South Florida guys?
I mean, I don't know. I think too, it's a first year head coach, so you're going to get a lot of hype, a lot of hoopla. I mean, there's already been that. I think it's all going to it's all going to come down to answers from Mario Cristobal. I mean, if they're going to get some guys that maybe they'll beat Florida State on just because that's the first year head coach down there in Miami, back in his hometown and home place where he, was a guy that played there. This is Cristobal and what he can do. No, yeah, you can't have that down.
Don't watch that show. Don't watch that.
Yeah,
After we're done, no. Don't watch Cam. We like Cam, but don't watch him.
Yeah, but I'm not too worried. I think it's all going to come down. I think Florida State's even more of a concern to me, and if they don't win any games this year, then they'll lose recruits to anybody. It won't even be Miami. Could be anybody else. They're going to have to go out and win. I think the staff does know that. They're probably starting to get a true feeling of that with some of these recruits that are kind of now stalling on their recruitments, or they're no longer in the top fives or top threes like they were with some guys a year ago or 2 years ago. The staff was just getting there, and it was all hot and everything was great here in Tallahassee. But I think it's all going to come down to wins for Florida State. Florida State's also got to hold on to these quarterbacks. They had 2 quarterbacks this last weekend take official visits at the same time. Meanwhile, they already have a 2023 quarterback, Chris Parson, in the fold. And Chris Parson just recently visited Mississippi State. That was something that we were told of, that, he would not be throwing there. He was just going to visit. His dad and mom are both an alma mater there too, so that's worth mentioning. Still seems like it's still tight with, Florida State. There's just some things that are just kind of making things iffy, in my opinion, that I think Florida State and the Parson family, they're going to have to get on the same line, align themselves again. And, we'll see if that commitment ends up sticking. We've kind of already shared this already, but Chris Parson was doing his journal with us, but he has halted that. He's no longer going to be doing his monthly journal with us and on game day. It seems like either he's kind of putting out a media blackout, which he did before he was at that elite camp. I was told from the family that was just put into place to kind of allow Chris to focus in on some of the camps and his competitions going into the summer. But, it kind of makes things just a little iffy, definitely, when you're bringing in 2 talented quarterbacks, one that's already committed to Purdue with Ricky Collins, who was actually supposed to be competing at the 7-on-7 today, but their coach told us that he would not be competing there. So Ricky Collins was not in front of the staff and Mike Norvell throwing. And then you got Brock Glenn too, who wants to make his commitment, I believe, before the end of June. So this is only going to heat up. I think the really biggest thing right now is keeping an eye on this quarterback room in that 2023 class. Not worried about Miami right now.
Falcon, I literally Falcon said 305, the area code of Miami. So you must be the dumb one. We literally knew we were being trolled. I literally said the area code. Obviously you can't comprehend the English language, so yes, we do know. But we will take your money. So
first of all, phenomenal.
So
So first of all, phenomenal update and insight and information from Logan. Number 2, I was going to be transitioning into that, but Jason cut me off because I was going to first give Falcon Rex, of course, he's one of our great viewers here at the Voice of College Football, contributes on a regular basis. Falcon Rex, at least I love you. I get we've got a bit of a rift going on here, which I totally get. That's what it is. Falcon Rex taking another little dig at the Boston College colors, FSU, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, we've got a legit question. Yes, Jason.
I do have a quick question for Logan. Logan, do they make the 4th and 14 shirts in green and orange for those Miami fans?
Sadly not. They can't buy them. We're not, definitely with not J. Travis signature.
Got it. Okay.
I don't believe so.
Just checking to make sure. They might wear those.
Legit question coming in from Mr. G14 Classified concerning the enrollment of Destin Hill.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is good stuff here. This is always good. I think I've hit on every imaginable person that I've ever gotten any kind of scoopage from for this one, because whoever is able to get information that he has touched down in the 850, even the second that he drives into Leon County, that person is going to be praised, and you get all the clicks and all the chatter. But this is the week for it to be, if this is going to be the end all be all for Destin Hill and Tallahassee. I've been informed that the staff feels confident. They felt confident a month ago, and that still has stayed the same, that he will be arriving in Tallahassee. I was told that he's been doing individual workouts. I've been told that they wanted to get him in to start doing workouts with the team. That's one thing that they wanted to get him in here early. This is about the last chance that you can get, though, because, those classes start, I believe, on the 20th for that last semester. And, there's still different kind of days there and what you can do with academics, but it seems like a lot of things that were holding Destin Hill back there. Louisiana has now been lifted from about a month and a half ago. Some things changed there, and I've been told the lockers have been prepped and everything. So the expectation is to have Destin Hill here. We've got till Monday or Tuesday. If it's around Monday or Tuesday, nothing. We haven't heard anything, then it's definitely time to maybe go and call it quits on that. But I don't think any kind of outlet or person that covers a team is willing to say he's gonna be here. It's just all about what we've heard and what we can kind of relay there. But this has been a whirlwind of a recruitment. I can't remember. I don't think there's definitely not anything like it that we've ever kind of covered, because there's a ton of excitement about this player. This guy, if you look back at his film, that's Peter Warwick skill. That's Peter Warwick-esque type film that would be an instant playmaker for Florida State, and if he does intend coming in healthy, condition, is able to get under Coach Storms for a couple months and such, and learn the system too from Mike Norvell and Coach Atkins, what they want to do on offense. So it's definitely a waiting game, but there's FSU side has been positive, from sources, not only from me, but from other people too. It's continued to be a positive thing since about a month and a half ago, I'd say, after that spring game. There was definitely things changing, and Destin Hill's camp that has made it to where Florida State feels a lot better.
And if Logan and I sound like dumb Miami fans getting hyped up about a youngster's future, it's because Destin Hill is he is a playmaker. He is a game changer. If he is in that lineup come, and not even so much the Duquesne game, but against that LSU game, that Louisville game, that Wake Forest game, he is the kind of guy who can get Florida State probably at least another win or two. And then all of a sudden you're talking about a team that on paper could go 7-5, all of a sudden is an 8-4 team. If Florida State was able to, according to Logan, win 8 games in the regular season, as he's talked about the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden you're a 9-win team. He is a guy, Destin Hill is good for at least a game or two, at least a win or two. So that's why this is absolutely crucial. Obviously the 20th is a national holiday this year, so maybe you have until Tuesday. So let's pray for June 21st.
So Jason, I'm
Yes.
going to push back on your 1 to 2 win projection to a certain extent. So it all depends on how much he gets into the flow of the offense and how much obviously he's utilized versus, when you're talking 1 to 2 wins, you're right. He could be. So I'm not saying you're wrong, because they could lose without him. They could lose 2, 3, or 4 point games that he would have made the difference from loss to win. But on average, being a baseball guy that you are, giving this an analogy to WAR, let's say wins above replacement, that's enormous in a 12-game season. 1 to 2 wins for one player.
I look at it this way. Florida State last season, we've talked about it, went 5-7, had 3 games where they lost by 3 points or less. Notre Dame, Jacksonville State, and Florida, they lost by 3 points in all of those games. So you look at it right there, you're 1 possession away in each one of those games from – you're 1 possession away from even one of those games. You're 1 Jarvis Brownlee stop away from beating Jacksonville State and actually being bowl eligible and ignoring that embarrassment of losing to an FCS team. So you put it into this season. Let's say nothing changes. Florida State's still a 5-7 team this season. Destin Hill is the kind of guy who can get you at least 1 or 2 of those wins, and you're at least a bowl eligible team, a 7-5 team. So if you look on paper this season, and all the projections say Florida State will finish 6-6, 7-5. Let's say best case scenario 7-5. if you're in another one or two of those losses, and those 5 losses are one possession losses, Hill could, once again, big asterisk by it, could be the guy to get you a win. So that's what I'm saying. He's the kind of guy who has that potential to get Florida State at least another win.
Yeah, he's definitely a skill guy. This is someone that there's a reason why FSU fans want him battling. This is 5-star talent type of caliber. And, there's a reason why LSU was pushing extremely, extremely. They were giving everything they had there at the end to try to grab Destin. And Florida State was able to hold in just because of their relationships and Mike Norvell and the recruiting that they did there to have Hill. And, there was still some kind of worrisome that he wouldn't sign with Florida State there in the end, but ends up picking FSU, and that was definitely a big-time celebration. Somehow that one now that was humongous on social media will end up being the biggest explosion we've seen maybe since Florida State beating maybe Miami then on the 4th and 14 might be about as big as it gets, and it's just crazy to think that's over a recruit. But, this is what Mike Norvell wants. This was going to be the guy for FSU on offense for the next 2-3 years, and we haven't seen him on campus yet. It could be happening within a week.
We also know what's big on social media. We've missed it. It's 10 minutes late, but it's the thing that's sweeping social media. It's sweeping Facebook. It's sweeping Instagram. It's sweeping Twitter. It's sweeping TikTok. He's dancing on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. Logan telling you why you got to hit the like button.
Well, not dancing on TikTok yet. I don't know. If we have to start doing lives there, maybe I'll have to get used to that. Maybe Mark will have to give us maybe a rundown on what to do there on TikTok. But make sure you hit the like button. Almost 100 people here. We're June's getting hot. June's feeling good. We're getting closer to football. I know the equipment team just posted saying they're getting the cleats coming in. That means that we're getting close to some on-field training here, getting close to camp. So make sure you hit the like button if you're ready for some Florida State football. Definitely some scoop coming up. And if you want Destin Hill to arrive, I keep saying it, but make sure you hit the like button. And you'll extremely regret it if you don't hit the like button and Destin Hill doesn't arrive. We blame you on that. So,
Wait, if you hit the like button, he's going to come?
Yep. If you hit the like button.
Yep.
Destin Hill. I think we went up already about 15 likes. So maybe we just need to use that from now on.
If that's all it takes, shoot.
Yep.
I like it. Again, I say the same thing as Jason just uttered all the time. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to go viral. Whatever it takes to bring in the likes, the views, whatever it takes. So let's clean up a couple things. And, of course, we want to remind everyone, as you just saw on the banner there earlier, that you got to get on over to the Discord at Knoll Game Day. That is a must. Bam, there it is right there, Logan. What can you tell us about Knoll Game Day Discord?
Get in there. A lot of stuff going in there now that our guy Dustin is full-time with us. He's been out at all these recruiting events and all the interviews and everything, and he's dropping in predictions. I think he's been 100% definitely on Tafase. A lot of guys were thinking, some of the other outlets were thinking Arkansas, but end up picking Florida State. He stuck with his decision. So if you guys wanted to kind of stick and ride with us, he's over there killing along with Nate too. And then we just have our show tomorrow night. We're having Antonor Winston on. Jameis Winston's father will be joining us for an episode that I've been trying to work on for a long while now, and I've got a lot of questions for Mr. Winston. And I think that one's going to be a pretty interesting podcast. There's a lot to dive back into. I mean, going back to high school, college, now NFL, coming back from an injury. Now there's a baby Winston now that's balling both offensively and defensively, dual threat quarterback. Yep, there's another one. It's
an infant. He can't be rated. 24/7 is not rating Jameis's infant child.
You don't need to rate him. Just look at the clips. It's we're getting old. We're getting old, Jason.
You're no.
Oh yeah. Jonah, keep an eye on Jonah Winston. Wow. He's already got
Jameis Winston. Yeah, I can't process that.
No, we're not processing the class of 2041. That's not happening.
There's a baby Winston.
No.
We're not talking baby Winston. We're talking his brother Jonah.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah, Jonah, who's going into 9th grade, I believe. Yeah, class of 2026, I believe.
So before we move on to one final topic, and then, of course, Jason's hot takes to conclude the show, Let's clean up a few items with William McMillan. We appreciate the super sticker, William. And you talk about hot takes, Jason. William is challenging you here to some hot, Texas A&M beats Miami 68-22. Florida State with a big 16-point win over the Canes. Clemson is really going to lay it on Miami. And then we also have, going a bit off the scoreboard, what's going to lead to that big win over the Canes is, of course, Florida State's going to break Tyler Van Dyke's legs.
Okay. First of all, William, thank you. I do agree with William on all those results, not the absolute butt kicking that he thinks Texas A&M and Clemson will put on Miami, but I think both of them will beat Miami this season, and I think we beat Miami as well. A little violent with William, but okay, thanks for the money. How's everything at home, William? You okay? You good? You good?
Yeah.
Everything just fine?
I was not born then. I can guarantee you that.
No, that's been a while.
I was not born then either.
Damn.
I remember that game.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I remember that game.
I'm saying Logan really saying I wasn't even born yet. Really, Logan?
The answer, point blank.
Wow, shots.
It's kind of gone this way.
You're a couple of years away, right?
I was the next year. I was
okay.
Hey,
look at him.
You know this, Mark, and you'll get to this point too, Logan. When you get to those numbers, 40, 50, and so on, you hold on to those years until you get to that point. I'm close to 40.
This is true. That's a key one right there. That's a key one.
Absolutely.
That certainly is. So before we get to the hot takes, the Florida State baseball coach was fired this week. And Jason, you believe that just kind of gives indication as to the pressure that could be on one Mike Norvell this year. And I got to say, before we cut you loose here, what is going to be potentially the most fascinating episode of our 3-year run is going to be at the conclusion of this football season, when we have that final record and we get Jason's reaction to the job Mike Norvell has done in 2022. That I'm going to be fascinated to see.
I mean, I don't think we're going to have a losing record. I've already said he's going to be better this season than the last two because he can't get much worse. But focusing on how this is going to impact, I think, and we've talked about this a little bit, it's been talked about amongst the different Florida State websites. I think that firing Mike Martin Jr., a man who was the namesake of the man whose name is on the field, who coached the baseball team for 40 years, winning his coach in college baseball, and he gets fired after 3 seasons, 2 in a pandemic year. First of all, I don't think Mike Martin Jr. should have ever been hired. I think it should have been either Mike Bell or Link Jarrett from the beginning, but we won't go there. I think it's a clear indication that Mike Alford, the new athletic director, isn't playing around. And I think it's something that you look at not just because of the fact that Mike Norvell is 8-13 in his first 2 seasons, but also what happens at the end of this year. We have to stop paying the buyout for Willie Taggart. So that frees up a lot of money to where if there is another bad season, as much as I don't want to get into the same cycle of firing coaches and paying buyouts, it becomes more logical that you could end up buying out Mike Norvell if there's another 6-6 or worse season. Do I think Florida State will be that bad? No. I think Florida State will be better than 6-6 this upcoming season. I think Mike Norvell will keep his spot in Tallahassee. But I just feel like, and Logan, you could touch on it because you're up in Tallahassee. You've been around the program more. I just feel like that, like I said, Mike Alford is showing. We've already replaced our national championship soccer coach who resigned because reportedly those two couldn't get along. Sue Seminoles, our longtime women's basketball coach, is gone. Our men's basketball coach, I love Leonard Hamilton, but God knows how much longer he's going to be around. It seems like there's a lot of changes. So do you think there's a little bit more pressure on Mike to win now this upcoming season?
Yeah, 110%. And definitely if you're looking at what they're wanting to do with the program and the football program, I think Alford definitely, he and Mike Norvell have really close ties here. And that's something, I think the relationship is really close. And they're pushing a lot of money over there to that football program. They're putting a lot more focus, more of maybe not putting so much more focus, but stuff that should have been happening for multiple years now. Florida State didn't have a, true head-on athletic director with Coburn, in my opinion. And that's understandable. That's what Florida State had to do. I don't know if that was financially and putting him in that position, but that wasn't his main, talent or his main focus towards, maybe developing some of these programs. But, you're seeing now a focus for Alford, Florida State's AD, to go in and start giving a lot of more attention now on the football program. You've already revamped since now really a year or so, revamped since he being that athletic director, made a whole new locker room. That quickly. And, that's something that's just going to kind of be, stationary for a little while until Florida State is able to break ground, which they're hoping to do later on this fall for the football only facility, and get that going and break ground. But Florida State has got to come away with some wins, and that's all up to Mike Norvell. And he's put on definitely a pretty hot seat. I think their relationship is really, really good because both of them are working together on trying to find the best abilities to make this program get better. And Florida State's football team brings in by far the most money that is with any program in college football. And you're seeing, Florida State able to add on a lot of these. They have a whole new staff now that's off field, and that's something that we hadn't seen before. But now Alford is making budget changes, allocating money to now where he can build a staff on the outside to be like some of these teams in the SEC or in the ACC like Clemson, or you go to the SEC with Alabama, what Nick Saban does. You're adding in general managers, and what do those people do? Why are we paying them this amount? Like, why are we giving them a salary every year? What are they doing? But it's to continue to help in the transfer portal for recruiting, get better, just to stay with the times. And adding a lot of these off-field hires is something that Alford has given Mike Norvell because he believes in this coach. Now it's time. Now it's time to come away with wins, and you got to go past the bowl game. It's got to be a 7-win minimum season, in my opinion, for him to kind of feel better. Because Alford's doesn't like to play games. We've seen that. So,
and I love that our fans here are very confident. I've seen 9-3, 8-4. John White already has a winning ACC Coach of the Year. So why are we even playing the season, guys? Let's just go with what our fans are saying here. We've got this. 12-0, national champs. We're going to be,
Hey, positivity, though. We like positivity.
Absolutely.
I always find it interesting when people are predicting the bowl game already, not knowing the matchup, of course. Predicting the bowl game.
We'll go to the Citrus Bowl or something like that.
Well, not predicting where the bowl game's going to be played, but already predicting a win or loss in a bowl game where we don't know the opponent.
Logan has us going 15-0, so I don't
Yeah. Whoa! What the hell? I have not said that.
Logan said that.
I am not drinking. I don't have a drink on me right now, y'all. I'm about to after this, but I don't have a drink on me.
If you had said that, that would have been a hot take.
Yeah, no, that would have definitely been a friggin' hot take. That would have been one of the biggest ones I've probably ever said. But
which leads us to.
Go ahead, yeah, hot take time.
Mark, do you think the viewers are ready? Do you?
I don't think they're ready, but I don't think they will ever be ready for the type of just full throttle attack onslaught of hot takes that you're about to deliver.
I like that sell. That was a good sell right there. It was a solid move. Well, over the next 11 weeks, because I won't be here next week, it's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. Florida State graduate. Turned 73 next Wednesday, so happy birthday, Dad. But 10 of the next 11 weeks, we will give you the hottest of hot takes. Some of them might be lukewarm, like what Logan did earlier this year. Some of them are going to set the web on fire. Call your local fire department. Get ready. Get a hose. Let's get this started. So the first one, we've talked about the era of the early 2010s when Florida State was dominating college football, winning the Orange Bowl, winning the ACC, winning the national title, 29-game win streak. And what did those teams have in common? In 6 of the 7 seasons from 2010 to 2016, Florida State was the state champs. Florida State, over that period, in that 7-season period, lost 1 game to a team from the state of Florida when they lost to Florida in 2012. Since then, in the 4 seasons that Florida State has played, both Miami and Florida in the same season, they've been swept twice. and they've only won one game the other two times, beating Florida in 2017 and Miami last season. Logan talked a little bit about it last week, about what Florida State has to do to win the state of Florida and how important it is to win the state of Florida. So after evaluating the schedule, and that's what I did last weekend, I went through the entire ACC schedule, wins and losses and everything. That's right. It got really boring. It was raining down here, so I had nothing but half an hour to do that. After looking at the schedule, it came to one conclusion. The first hot take of the 2022 offseason is that, drum roll. Thank you.
That's the best I can do.
That's
Can
not
you hear
a
that?
lot. I like it. Thank you.
Okay.
Florida State will beat Miami and Florida in the same season for the first time since 2016. Florida State will be the state champs of the Sunshine State for the first time in 6 years.
Wow. So
I think Florida State. I think it's a combination of the fact that both Miami and Florida. You look at their schedules beforehand. Miami, look at their schedule right now. They're playing Texas A&M. They play North Carolina. They go to Virginia Tech. Go to Virginia, who Virginia beat them last season. At Texas A&M on September 17th, and that's all before Florida State. So I think that's at least 3 losses at that point. So some of their momentum's gone. Florida, obviously playing us on the Friday before Thanksgiving, first time since 1979. That game's not on a Saturday. But in the SEC alone, they play LSU. They play the defending national champions, Georgia. They go to Texas A&M, to Tennessee. They start off the year with Utah. There is a chance Florida could lose their season opener for the first time since they lost to Michigan a couple years ago in Arlington. So I think that the way things play out, if the things play out the way we have talked about this offseason, I believe Florida State will beat Miami and Florida for the first time since 2016.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which game I think is better for Florida State to come away with. I'm still reading both of these new staffs and seeing how it's going to develop from last year's teams. I think Florida's got their quarterback, and definitely Miami does too. But I think Miami is a little bit ahead there with Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah.
But we heard all about Tyler Van Dyke last year, and what did Florida State do? I mean, they are able to get after him and dominate there on the defensive line, and I think that's going to be even scarier for Florida State. Florida State's defensive line is going to be better, which is going to be even scary to think of, even with the loss of Jermaine Johnson. I mean, Keir Thomas. I think D-Mac and Jared Burris are going to do what they need to do. And if they're able to play an average game against Miami, that interior defensive line is going to do what it's going to do. And it's going to be one of the best in college football next season. And then if I'm going over to Florida, I think, if you're able to take care of Anthony Richardson and Florida State's defensive lines, it's funny. Both of these rivalry games are really going to come down to Florida State's defense, and that's something that I thought looked really good this last spring. I think there's definitely a high potential where Florida State could come away with it. They should have done it last year. Let's all be honest here. That was embarrassing to see Florida State go down there to Gainesville and lose to an interim head coach, and then lose to Emory Jones, who was throwing interceptions to some of the cotton candy people out there, giving out popcorn and everything, just giving an interception to even some of the press media up there 50 rows up.
You got one in the press box. I got one.
I got a ball too.
I got one.
Yep. I got it signed too and everything before Emory Jones decided to leave and transfer. And we'll see. If Anthony Richardson can stay healthy, I think that's a big thing too for Florida next year. But both teams are most certainly beatable. It should already be beatable, in my opinion, because Florida State is bringing back Jordan Travis. You're bringing a really good defense back. You're bringing an extremely good defensive line. This is Mike Norvell. He's now into true year 3 for Florida State. He should already have the advantage of taking down these two rivals. And he's done it once before against Miami at home on a thriller, but I feel like it should be a little bit easier, even with going down there in Miami, which I think I'm going to go down there for the first time this season.
Whoa, that's the hot take right there. Logan's going to actually go south of I-4.
It was not my idea. But
we're going to set him up.
Go down there.
We're going to set him up some Cuban food, get some Latin women. That's it.
Well, now we're talking. Now we're talking.
First time
once I heard Latinas.
First time they call you Poppy, it's done. You're going to give them all your money.
You can sign me up right now then. And Jason, you don't have to tell me where I need to be at all times.
I feel like Mark needs to end this show before it becomes.
Sounds like Logan and I share some taste there, and I already knew that.
Boy.
Oh, I knew me and Mark did it about a year ago. I knew that we had the same.
Mark's got his. I got a Puerto Rican woman right now, so we're good. We're all
Look at
good.
that! Whoa! Look at this!
Trifecta.
That's
Wow! Look at us! It's a
yeah.
summer loving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Jason, you're locking that in. Florida and Miami. Those
Florida
are
and
wins.
Miami. Florida, Miami. So, and then next week I won't be here, but on the 29th, I'm going to. Here's your tease. The next one. Which teams in the ACC are going to have an amazing start? And by amazing, which teams will be bowl eligible in their first 6 games? Stay tuned. That'll be on the 29th.
On the 29th.
It may be 2 teams that you don't think. It may be 3 teams. It may be 1 team you do think. You never know. That's why you watch with Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.
Hey, we're getting some nice.
You get the thumbs up from Mike Myrick and others.
Good.
Love the hot take.
Good.
We like.
Was it hot enough for you, Mark?
Yes, that was a scorching, flaming hot take. That's an important hot take, not just a great hot take in regards to going out there with a bit of a risk there, but that's a mighty important hot take.
Yeah. If you're gonna do it big, you do it big then. Okay.
Oh
Yes.
wow!
Jason comes out of the gate.
Shout out to J Boo.
Shout out.
Shout out to Jameis Winston, the guy that dominated both Florida and Miami a few times, as we know, and even Clemson. Said that was his second house, third house, fourth house in his tweet. That was pretty crazy stuff, man, back then. Man, if we had Jameis and what he was tweeting back then nowadays, oh my God, would that just stir up everything? But he was tweeting some crazy. He'd be tweeting on the damn bus ride in. Check out our house. That was some nasty stuff, man. Nasty.
All right. So Jason's not going to join us next week.
You guys celebrate Daddy-O's birthday. We're lucky he's still around.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gotta celebrate him while we can.
Tell him we said happy birthday.
Definitely will.
All right.
Tell
in another edition
I'll tell him to hit the like button.
Florida State Live, number 162, and Jason's first hot take of the 2022 season. For Logan Robinson, Noel Game Day, get on over to the Discord.
Oh, yeah.
And Jason Parker, NBC6. We'll see you next Wednesday, minus Jason, but still be back here, everyone.
Yeah, we will be. We will be.